Good evening and welcome to TalkSports, our weekly program where we speak to the movers and shakers in sports, the sportsmen, sportswomen, administrators, coaches, what have you, whether they're involved in sports, past and present. We do have a discussion with them. Well, this evening and this week, our special attention, obviously, will be on this Summer Olympics, the postponed Summer Olympics, as you know, from 2020. It's now 2021, and no doubt Grenada is actually participating in the Summer Olympics. But while all the attention normally be for some people on track and field, aka athletics, no doubt over the few editions we have had other competitors in other disciplines, sporting disciplines, albeit swimming, and there was once tennis, there was one boxing, obviously, was there. You had taekwondo, another sporting discipline from time to time. But this Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan, Grenada will be represented by track and field and swimming. And we do have two swimmers in Tokyo, Japan, in that of Delron Felix, and that's the male swimmer. And then we have Kimberley, who is a female, okay? And she has recently joined the team, and as well as their coach, Nataly Regis, who is also with the team in Tokyo, Japan. But tonight, we'll be speaking with Nataly in Tokyo, Japan, to find out what's happening with the swimmers. And since they got there in terms of the preparation and all that is taking place, because they will be in competition very early. In fact, as soon as the opening ceremony is traditionally is that swimming goes into action. Okay, so joining me from Tokyo, Japan, let me welcome Nataly Regis. Nataly, good evening to you. I know it's the time difference is actually morning, morning your time. So good evening, and how are things?
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's going okay. We're making the best of it. Of course, the time difference, like you mentioned, and also the adaptation to ensure that the swimmers are well prepared and adapted to perform when the time comes. Yes.
Right. And, swimming, obviously, especially when it comes to the Caribbean, at times, except probably for Jamaica and the Bahamas and those who would have done pretty well, there isn't this interest in terms of public's interest in swimming, albeit because over the years, swimming has not been among the medalists for Olympic Games. So all the attention normally for where, the medals are. But interestingly enough, from time to time, we get the opportunity for these young swimmers to participate in things like the Olympic Games. First of all, Nataly, as a coach and being around swimmers, how important do you think for these young swimmers to be, especially young in terms of age as well, and experience, to be in the same environment, the same facility, swimming pool, as the top swimmers in the world?
Well, I think it's critical, as you rightfully said. They are very young, and the possibility of them continuing and staying on, the longevity in the sport, we're hoping that this will at least give them the opportunity to see how much further they can actually go, because Kimberley's only 16, Delron is just 20, and we are hoping that they will want to continue at least for another Olympic, which is just within the next 3 years. They can stick it through and really push to really try and possibly be up with the top 16 in the world. That let them know that it is very possible, and just letting them see and be around the elite. Just like yesterday, they were training with some of the top swimmers from the US in the same pool at the same time. Let them know, I mean, and realize that their technique, their stroke, they're not quite there. They're just a few seconds behind them, but letting them know that they're just like them. They have the same two legs, same two arms. It's just a matter of, wanting to work a little bit harder. And of course, hopefully with facility wise, if they go on to pursuing their studies where we can get better facilities for them to train in, surely they can definitely be just as good, because rightfully so, they're very young and their times can definitely drop as they continue to train.
Yeah. Well, it's important you mention our facilities, because obviously something we'll have to touch on, Nataly. But how since arrival in Tokyo, and with all the protocols and all these involved, how have the swimmers been adapting to the conditions there?
Well, just this morning I spoke with them, and just their feedback, and so they are a lot more rested. They are feeling a lot better in the water. When we just got here, of course, Delron came first. They were feeling very sluggish, even the distance, adapting again, even though we went to Orlando 2 months ago. Still, you lose that feel for the distance that you have to swim, because we all know we training a much smaller pool, and then re-strategizing. I could definitely see his times are significantly different. You're talking about a good 2-3 seconds difference in terms of how he swims. A 50 meters. The first time he jumped in the pool on the first day, let's suppose we arrived, compared to after being there for at least 5 days, you can see that adjustment happening. And right now, I can safely say we are a lot more adapted now than we were when we first came. And it's obvious. You can see it in their performance, even in the whole, the body language as they're approaching the pool, they jump in, even during their warm up, you can definitely see it. Stroke count changes. Like I mentioned, the whole strategy, how you approach the particular distance, it really does play a significant role in their ability to adjust. It's almost like saying, okay, someone who's throwing a shot put, you don't have whether it's a 5 pound or a 10 pound that you're using, you're actually using, let's suppose, a 2 pound, but trying to repeat it. It's not the same, you don't get the same feeling. So it's that kind of scenario, or compared to maybe a 400-meter runner, but you have a track that's 200 meters. You go in, the strategy, the corners, everything is different. So it's adjusting to that length, and that even the width of the lane as well, and even the blocks that we have to use. We don't have the block that has almost like what you call a track start. At home, we only have the flats, and it's a bit shallower or shorter than what we would normally use at the Olympics. So it's adjusting to all those little things. Even for Kimberley as well, the backstroke, we don't have the ledge, and even the pool. Supposedly it should be the same distance, but it actually is not. The flag, getting the stroke count and so on, to know when she has to do her flip turn, when she has to finish. So it's a lot of adjusting that has to take place. And like I said, we are a lot better than we were prior to 5 days ago, when we just got here. It was like trying to adjust and adapt, and we're getting there for sure.
Mm-hmm. And talk a bit more about the PanAm Camp, the Olympic Games, a pre-games camp organized by PanAm Sports. How much it is helping your swimmers?
For sure. We are so grateful to PanAm Sports for being the initiator, the president, and the general secretary, who were significantly critical in helping to initiate the entire idea. And then it's being sponsored first time ever, by a Japanese business individual, Mr. Murayama is his name. He single-handedly decided to sponsor the entire PanAm camp, which is a huge, huge contribution for all of us. And we're also very grateful. So we have all of South America, Central, and the Caribbean being part of the camp, per se. And it has helped because through his sponsorship, we were able to use the Chow University facility, which just a university having such an amazing facility, 9 lane, 50 meters, each lane being at least 2 meters wide, really gave the swimmers the chance to acclimatize, which is critical when you traveling, to the other side of the world, and the time difference, and for us in this case, significantly the length of the pool and all of the necessary and, well, now the official equipment that we get to use, even the starting block, like I mentioned. It has played a significant role in assisting with Delron's preparation. Kimberley, our youngest swimmer, just joined us just a day ago, but she has also been swimming in the warm pool. But at Camp PanAm, the support has been tremendous in terms of the meals, adapting to the meals, and the Japanese people have been very, very welcoming. We saw in the media that it was a different kettle of fish, that the media didn't want us there, or the people didn't want it, but what we are seeing is a completely different, what we are experiencing is a completely different insight that's being brought across by the media. So it's all to say that we have to think and determine for ourselves what's actually true and what's not. So the people have been very supportive in the swimmers and their preparation. Actually, it wasn't only swimming. We had judokas and we had beach volleyballers there as well, preparing, acclimatizing, and it has been pretty significant, because even just adjusting and even the transportation situation, everyone adjusting to all of the protocols that we have to adhere to, wearing our masks, sanitizing, getting used to giving our saliva sample, which we have been doing, to be monitored on a daily basis with those PCR tests. And luckily we've all been negative. So it's acclimatizing to all that's required, protocol wise, meal wise, training, transportation, and just the support, massage. It's been really, really very greatly appreciated, and we can't fault the camp in any way, because the support has just been there. And even just coming together as one region to know that we are part of, I mean, some of us only have like 1 or 2 swimmers, but just to know that we are part of a bigger group, it gives us that extra confidence to go in there and do the best that we can, which is what we're here for, to adjust and perform to the best of our ability.
So when competition starts, tell me about our swimmers who will be in splashing first. What's the schedule like for our swimmers when competition actually starts in earnest? I think on probably Saturday.
Right, Kimmy. So that's the 25th. So we have the opening ceremony on the 23rd. And then 2 days later, on the 25th, is when Kimberley swims her 100 backstroke, which for us here will be at 7 p.m., but that would be 7 a.m. in Grenada time. So it is, or is it 6 a.m.? I'm yet to differentiate time difference, but definitely it's, she's going there. She will be the first one to get in the water and swim her 100 backstroke, which we are expecting great things, because Kimmy has been training really, really hard, and she's been doing her best. And then we have a day rest, and that will be followed by Delron. He will be swimming his 100 freestyle on the 27th, also at 7 p.m. Japan time. And we're also expecting him to go and perform and possibly break the national record again, because we know just about 2 months ago he broke the national record in the 100 freestyle, and the lone swimmer, we'd say, to drop it down to 52.9. So let's see if he can go even lower, which by all preparation, he is showing very, very a very good chance of breaking it again. So we're expecting good things from them.
Well, it's good to hear that, Natalie. And from our end, we obviously wishing our swimmers all the best. From you, from a personal point of view, as the coach, the swimming coach, what it is you have been, learning in terms of techniques, whatever opportunity you have been getting to grasp new ideas and techniques and whatever. Tell us a bit about your personal development as well as a coach at the Olympic Games.
Yes, I think it's critical as a coach to definitely have a plan. And definitely have that plan and stick to the plan. Only waver if something comes up and it's absolutely necessary to change certain things. And that's what I'm seeing with the other coaches as well. They're sticking to their plan, and the ones who are excelling and doing really well, they have their plan, and that's based off the athletes, how they have been performing, what they've been doing prior, in order to adjust it to make sure that it's adequate for the individual, and not necessarily, just change, mix and match, or what is felt like on the day only. So sticking to that plan and making sure that it's followed through as meticulously as you possibly can. Ticking every box when it comes to looking at all that's required for that individual, for that particular for the swimmers for that particular event. So tweaking whether it's their starts, their underwater work, what we call the transition from underwater into their swim, um, how well you strategize even for that first part of the event, how the turns are performed, and looking at every particular area and analyzing it to make sure that it is the way you would like it to be, or comparing them. I suppose at the very beginning you compare them to the world's best. You look at the top 50, what have they been doing, and compare them and see how much you can get the swimmer to get as close to, or even better in some cases, to perform in those particular events. So it is definitely sticking to the plan, as well as observing what's been going on in the camp. Some of the things that are being done, even though we might be doing some of it very similar, it was good to see different approach by different folks on how to do even what's considered the same thing. Because we use the cords. We've only just started using those pulley cords. We just got that equipment, and seeing how it's being used by other coaches and what they are, other skills or other drills that can be implemented using the same equipment. That was very insightful, and I think I'm going to definitely. I took notes of what was actually happening, so that it can also be implemented for our swimmers, because I can definitely see how it's going to benefit them. Certain drills and the way it's being done. And even as well, just the whole camaraderie and the team effort, how critical, even though it's an individual sport, the importance of the swimmers looking out for each other and rooting for each other, even though we were from different countries. Just that whole camaraderie that was built in that camp, it felt really good, and I can definitely see how much the Delron and the other swimmers were feeding off each other in the camp. So it was definitely well worth it, and just to ease the whole pressure of what you're going there to perform, and sometimes it can be very intimidating. But getting there and being with others and seeing how everyone is approaching the task at hand, just give you that sense of, oh wow, you're not the only one, and they can cope with it. So definitely, we can cope with it as well. So it's quite a lot that we shared and we experienced with each other. I have to say, the first 2 days, unfortunately, Delron fell ill, but eventually, when we got into the camp and we got into what was actually happening, it was really very it was fun and incentivizing to get him back on stream and get in and be part of it. So it was definitely well worth it. And I mean, they haven't performed yet, but I'm already seeing Delron and even the other athletes who don't have facilities, how much they were able to acclimatize to the whole, even the time difference. Because at this time, normally we will be in bed. It's 11 o'clock here, but it's what, 10 o'clock at home, and it's time for sleeping. So just adjusting our body clock to accommodate that is very, very critical.
Yeah. Well, and naturally, over the years, we have had that conversation before, time and time again, regarding facilities. Grenada continues to excel at the sub-regional level, and here and there in the regional, scheme of things, doing well. But all of that is happening in the context of just what we'll say, average size swimming pool. Probably a swimming pool that the average person may have in their backyard. Let's put that there for the better. But
What?
still continuing to
That's what it
excel.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, how much can we say that when you see the conditions out there, the facilities out there, albeit it's Olympics, but I'm certain you have gone other places where it wasn't the Olympic Games and would have seen facilities and things like that. So, and knowing the potential of our swimmers, and if they do have the facilities to match their potential, what they probably can do. Nataly, again, do you think it's probably more than the right time for Grenadian swimmers, rather, to have a facility, and a facility of international repute?
I think it's high time we had a facility, not just for the swimming aspect of it, but the holistic development and what swimming represents. Because we have to remember that it is a life skill. Most persons are terrified of even sometimes approaching the beach. I've seen people going on the beach and they just go where probably just their bum can touch the water, sitting on the sand, and they will not venture in, because I'm on the beach every day in Grenada and I'm seeing it happening. And given that we have programs at home, it's not just for the elite or the um the affluent people. It is a life skill, and we need to think of it as that. Swimming is the life skill, just like we need to learn how to perform CPR on someone if you know they're struggling to breathe or not breathing. We have to be able to or resuscitate them. That just like that is a life skill. Swimming is one of those. We're living on an island, and we need to get that in our head. The programs that we're developing, luckily through the Get Grenada Swimming, that and I've been able to train up quite a few coaches to assist with that, because now we up to, if I'm not mistaken, we've up to what, 14 sites now, and we had another 800 plus persons just learning how to swim, and just getting persons and youngsters in particular into something constructive. I'm talking a facility that can accommodate programs like that, just so that our nation can benefit and grow a lot more. Because we want to avoid persons in terms of even their health and well-being. We don't want persons in the hospitals. We want them well, healthy, so we're getting them into physical activities. Maybe not just the swimming, but also on the track. Luckily, I know ministry has been pushing and have done and assigned the land to the swimming association. And I know the swimming association is trying the very best to get the facility up and running. And we're hoping, well, through the collaborative effort with Olympic Committee, Ministry, Swimming Association, as well as even FINA, to collaboratively start digging that hole and put the facility down so that we can have a program or develop programs, multiple programs, not just one, multiple different programs to get a huge base of swimmers so that we can eventually taper off and get the cream of the crop, so that we can have, like we have Kimberley and Delron right now representing Grenada. but not just represent and participate, but go there to properly compete on the world scale, on the world level, because they have the talent. Delron's height is 6'2". He's almost 6'3". The child is tall. Kimberley is getting even taller, and she's still very young. She still has a bit more to grow, and she is pretty quick in the region because she has medaled at Carifta multiple times. So has Delron. He has medaled multiple times. They have broken the national record so many times and go out there and proven that they can be elite as well. But it's just that every time we go and we're training in our facility, and I mentioned the size of our lanes as well, because it's not just the length of the pool, it is the size of the lane and how efficient and how aggressive they can approach every lap. Because when you're training, it's every lap, every stroke that counts. But if you're limited on every aspect of that, just every lap you take or every stroke, you're scared that you're going to crash into each other, because that's what happens. And I saw, just even when we're training, have you seen the size of Delron and the size of Kimberley? And we had one lane to train in on most occasions, one lane to share with all the others. And even on top of that, we're still being, well, literally, I was attacked a few times by the other coach, because they thought we were hogging the pool now, or we were going over the time. And I'm thinking, but wait, we're trying to prepare and train here to go to represent Grenada at the world, and I'm being attacked by other coaches when we have one lane. And even that one lane is so narrow for the size of Delron plus the size of Kimberley. Training in that facility and trying to do the best that we can to go out there and represent. It was and is a massive challenge. You know, and it's just, I'm thinking, my golly, why am I even continuing to fight with this situation where I know, yes, we're going to participate and represent. I know the possibility that exists with these youngsters. I know how much more they can perform and do if we really were to be able to train in a proper facility. And still, despite that, we are still, I mean, you look at the times, you look at their technique, and they are not far off. I look at them, I compare them to the other, and even sometimes their technique is so much better than some of the other swimmers. But it's just that when we're training months and months, we've been training for, for the year that has been happening, we've been preparing. Yes, sometimes we had to go on the beach because of the COVID restriction. We had to train and a lot of jellyfish. I mean, yes, we got the length, but of course we know the density of the water is very different. Yes, we went against the current a few times, but still your body just floats. You're able to float so much better. So it's a lot easier to swim in the sea as compared to just what we call dead water. So it's pretty disheartening, the battle that had to go through just to get the swimmers trained up and as best we can with what we had, do the best yet again. But still, I would say they are actually currently the best that we've ever had. You know, they've pushed again, even compared to the last Olympics when we had Ore and Kerry. But luckily, they got to go up to the States at least an entire year prior, a year and a half, if I'm not mistaken, prior to go up and train in the States. And even I think it was Corey, was 2 years away from Grenada, you know, to be able to train up there. But now we see Delron and Kimberley, even though we still had to train in Grenada, they have still surpassed, you know, the even the FINA points and so on. So it goes to show, yes, the facility hindered, but still, even with the facility, the limited facility, I mean, they still pushed a bit more and are still able to excel a bit more than we've ever done in the past. So I can only imagine what can happen with a facility and the kind of programs we can deliver. And like I said, not just for the ones to go out there and represent, but a holistic program where we start from the base up. It can be really a significant transformation for the entire nation, because the sport of swimming requires so much discipline for you to be able to go out there to go and perform. It's meticulous. You have to, like any sport, if you want to get to an elite level, you have to be very meticulous about your technique and about what you do and even your diet. Now Delron is starting to realize, and Kimberley, how critical their diet is in relation to their ability to perform. And I know Kimberley has improved significantly in terms of her eating habits and her sleeping habits as well. Mind you, they had to adjust because they just realized they just were not able to perform. So a few months ago, at least about 8 months ago, we had to really tweak everything that was happening. So it's not just go out there and get the best of the best. It's to adjust and have that discipline to really follow through. So then we create now disciplined citizens of Grenada who will, be a lot more when it comes to even in the working on the workforce, and eventually, we have a stronger nation eventually. And just imagine we have at least about 1,000+ swimmers. Right now, the numbers in the pool, well, because of the COVID as well, but also too, just in general, the number of swimmers that we have currently is not as great as we previously had. And I know that can significantly improve if we get the bigger and better facilities, because the ministry program as well, with the Learn to Swim program that the ministry has, which has been on hold as well because of the whole COVID situation and the strike. But just considering the significant impact performance-wise, that's the ultimate that we want, of course, performance-wise. But then you get mass participation on a whole. The knock-on effect of all of that can be a positive impact on the entire nation.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer that the swimming facility is needed, and as you said, not just for the swimming itself, but for we talk a lot about healthy lifestyles and things like that. So and definitely a swimming pool can provide that, because as you say, so many challenges for these swimmers, and for you preparing a team to compete at the Olympic Games and still having to face these challenges. Normally, it should be a situation where at such a time that the facility, small as it is and limited as it is, should have been exclusively for the preparation of these athletes, these swimmers, for an elite competition as the Olympic Games. Albeit, you still have to juggle and still have to, face these obstacles and challenges to get these athletes to that level. But I can see the commitment and the dedication by you, Nataly, to ensure that these swimmers, get the best. And I'm certain, well, I'm saying I'm certain, but it's my hope, and it's everyone's hope, that the authorities may see the wisdom in at least having such a facility for our swimmers. They have paid the price, they have, fight the fight, as we'll say, and they have produced the goods, and, it's only fitting that they be rewarded with something as a facility. But at the same time, it's glad to know that the lands have been acquired, and it's just for the stakeholders to come together and move forward. And as you say, let's see the digging of the hole. Let's see the digging of the hole. Yeah. But Nataly, as we get ready to wrap up on that, what, in terms of swimming in the region, and I say the region because, yes, we can dominate the OECS, but that's at a different level. But then we have the Caribbean with the big territories, the Barbados, Jamaica, and others. And certainly they have the facilities, and they have the resources, and they have and resources also to participate in other competitions and things like that. So, but in terms of the quality of swimming in the Caribbean compared to what you've been seeing outside there, how do you rate the Caribbean and the level of swimming, and possibly if you have the chance to explain whether we have seen an improvement, or or there hasn't been an improvement in recent years, or whatever. What's your assessment of swimming in the region?
I think regionally we are getting better. I definitely, with some of the athletes that our swimmers have been up against at the Carifta level, have qualified. For example, in Barbados, we had Alex Sobers, who qualified in not just one but two events, and just seeing that happen, mind you, all the swimmers who have been qualifying have been training abroad, which is, I mean, it is what it is when it comes to training abroad and training locally. But Barbados has their facilities, so they have had that facility to train in for quite a while, and then moving on to the US to then go up and qualify as well. Jamaica has always had their swimmers qualifying, and she's even medaled. That's Ali Atkinson. She continues to compete for Jamaica, and we are expecting great things from her again in the breaststroke events. Generally, I think more swimmers are qualifying, and that's a very good thing. And we are hoping to be one of those countries sometime soon to actually qualify once we get our facility, or even if we have swimmers who decide to go up to the States to train, whichever way. Because my thinking is that we need to start qualifying and stop just participating. Okay. And that's really where I want us to reach. And I know we can get there. Qualify, get there, and be able to represent, properly represent the country, or even participate in the competition as such. Not just go there and you're out within the first, just in the heat. Let's get into the semis. Let's get into the finals, and once we're in the finals, it's anybody's game, because then it definitely means, and we've seen from lane 1 to lane 8, mind you, they put the best swimmers in lane 4, but or the fastest swimmers they perceive, based on heats in lane 4. But we've seen persons winning events, just like Simone Manuel have proven from lane 8. So it's anybody's game once you can get into those finals. But I think our swimmers can qualify, and regionally more swimmers that our swimmers are familiar with, because they compete with them at the Carifta Games, and some of them would have outtouched them at the Carifta Games. So what is it now that's different? Definitely the facility is a major factor. And of course, the whole training regime and just being in that zone where they just train for the Olympics is also a different frame of mind. So seeing more Caribbean athletes and experiencing and being part of that squad, almost, where these youngsters are coming up, and they know they've rubbed shoulders with them previously. They know that they can actually be there as well, and rank with the best. And just for them to see their peers qualifying, a lot more of their peers qualifying within the region, will definitely incentivize, I think, and have already. I mean, because we were having a discussion, and when we hear of the swimmers within the region, more swimmers qualifying, it's a big celebration, because for us, it's the region we are getting better, and we're more than happy, to see our Caribbean counterparts qualify, and not just B standards, A standards. So well done to our region and our peers, for blazing a trail so that we can
Yeah.
also follow along that path. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I want to thank you, Nataly, for joining us. And again, as we know the time difference, so we have to respect that. And we'll be looking out for our swimmers. They will be in action very early, and be looking for, as you said, improved performances. That's the important. If they get on the medal stand, that will be a big. But I think importantly is the improved in performances and learning from that. And obviously, we can see probably in the future, we can see that experience at the Olympics well paid off. Nataly?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you. And we're looking forward to their performances. Yes,
Okay
for
then.
sure.
So
Yes.
thank you very.
Okay.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
right. We looking forward to that. I want to thank you once again, and stay safe. Stay safe in Tokyo. Um,
Yes.
you heard that?
Thank you.
I
I will
said
do
be
my
safe
very
in
best.
Tokyo.
Do my very
Yeah.
best. I'm using my sanitizer
All
and
right then.
mask
Thank you very
everywhere.
much.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Uh, well, we hope so. Thank you very much once again. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most welcome. Thank you.
Folks, that's Nataly Regis, our yeah, okay then. Our swimming coach with the Grenada team, and Natalie is with the team, as I said, and she has been around swimming for quite a while, and no doubt will be hoping to learn quite a bit from the experience of the Tokyo Olympic Games, and she should be joining. Everyone should be in the village soon, and remember the opening ceremony is on Friday morning, Eastern Caribbean time, and the swimmers get into action as early as Saturday morning. That will be Kimberley Ince. She will be in action, and I think on Tuesday morning, Delron Felix should be in action, according to what Natalie is telling us today. So our swimmers will be in action very, very early into the Olympic Games. And as I said, the swimmers, but then we also have the track and field athletes. I believe and I'm hoping that our one of the swimmers will be able to carry the flag. Normally, it's dominated by track and field. There's hope that one of the swimmers will be able to carry the flag at the opening ceremony. That's the Grenada flag at the opening ceremony. So, folks, I want to thank you once again for being part of our program, and hopefully on Saturday we do have another program. I want to ask you to continue to support our sportsmen and women wherever they are. Please do continue to support them. They need your support. Our swimmers, our track and field athletes in Tokyo, Japan. We have our footballers in the CONCACAF Gold Cup, and continue rather to support sports, not just when they are at the Olympic Games or they are at a major tournament, but even when they are at home competing, they need your support, So I want to encourage you to continue supporting sports. So until then, I want to wish you a pleasant evening, and don't forget to join me on Saturday for another in our Talk Sports program. This time it will be the Saturday Sports Special. I'm Michael Bascom. Good evening.